Hey there, Mary Sheila here with BioYouth Labs, and I want to talk with you today about an essential nutrient that the thyroid gland needs, which is iodine. Now, iodine is a mineral and it is a key component of the thyroid hormone. We take up iodine from our diet and into the bloodstream, and then when it gets to the thyroid uses it to make thyroid hormone. So it combines with tyrosine. If you've ever heard of what your thyroid hormone is called, it's T4 or T3. So T4 is tyrosine with then 4 iodine molecules, and T3 is tyrosine with 3 iodine molecules. So it's essential for the thyroid gland to make adequate thyroid hormone. So we need to make sure that we're getting it from our diet. And there are a few ways to get it from your diet. And one of the primary ways, a great way to get it, is seaweed, which maybe you're like, seaweed? I don't like seaweed, or I don't eat seaweed. And that's okay, but I'm going to show you a couple little pieces of seaweed that I have. This is a seaweed it's dried, and it's called a kombu. And I actually harvested it on the Northern California coast. There's another seaweed that I have here, which is called sea palm. And they do look like little palm trees when they're growing, and they usually grow on the breakers. And these are the palm fronds of the sea palm, and they're delicious. To me, they're a great starter seaweed if you're like, I'm not really sure. But so it's yummy just to like break off a little piece and eat it. Or I actually sometimes make a sea palm fettuccine with these, which is really good. But the kombu you can throw in when you're cooking beans, or you can throw it into a soup and it will add a lot of the minerals in there. And you can also eat it. It's a little more mucilaginous, so you kind of get a little more kind of a mucusy feeling in your mouth. So it's not a starter seaweed. If somebody's like, I'm not really sure, but the sea palm is. And for some of you, you maybe have seen those little packets of the nori, or maybe you've eaten nori if you've eaten Japanese food. That's another kind of starter seafood or seaweed. But ideally, we want to make sure there's enough iodine in the diet. So yes, there's seaweed. There's also, that is why salt is iodized, so that we get iodine in the diet, because a lot of people don't. Fish and dairy products are also other ways that you can get iodine. The other thing to know about iodine and the thyroid gland is that iodine is considered a halogen, which means it's a certain type of molecule. And other halogens include chlorine, bromine, and fluoride. So sometimes the iodine and those other things, chlorine, bromide, and fluoride, can compete with the iodine in the body. So this is where sometimes getting too much fluoride in the case of toothpaste or fluoridated water, and also maybe having exposure to too much chlorine. So this is where filtering our water is really important. We could sometimes be affected if we're in chlorinated water, like in pools a lot, which is good to kind of rinse off after that. But those can be things that can perhaps contribute to getting a lot of those and having the competition. And the way that, just to give you a little bit more, the way that the thyroid hormone works in the body. So the thyroid, which is right here, is a part of our hormonal system. And it is very metabolically active in the body. It supports our metabolism, helps to regulate growth and development. It also sort of revs up the motor or the engine of our cells, our mitochondria. So oftentimes, because it's part of our hormonal system, it needs to get a message or a memo to release its hormones. And so that memo comes from the hypothalamus, which is the top dog of the hormonal system, or the CEO, or the hard drive, right? It's like regulating everything, making sure everything's working. And then it sends a message to